how do we take the aspirations of our kids, who may or may not be realistic aspirations, and convert them to the realities of the new opportunities and new jobs and some of the fuzzy things that we don't even really know that are happening? How can we do that? And I understand you've got some experience in doing that.
Well, I do, and you know, with technology today, there's so much more ability to customize education, and that's how you try to capture these students and really get as individualized as you can. North Carolina has done some rather innovative things. In 2003, I authored something called the Innovative Education Act, which established a statewide initiative around early colleges. An early college is a program, it's a partnership between the public school board and the community college board with an innovative 5-year program. You enter the 9th grade, but you're not looking at a 4-year degree. You're looking at having a technical degree or an associate's degree in 5 years. It really cuts a year off the learning process. It ups the rigor, accelerates learning. It really saves money for the parents and the state because you're cutting a year off the learning process. But more importantly, it's preparing our students for a 21st century economy. We have been very successful with that in North Carolina. Harvard University gave North Carolina a national award for innovation in education because of that early college program.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Well, and even better than that, about 6 weeks ago, the New York Times said North Carolina's early college model is a model for the nation. We have 1/3 of the early colleges in the nation today, about 10,500 students in those programs. 50% or more of those students are first generation college. Yet we see that the dropout rate is almost zero in this, and the high school.
Zero?
Yes, yes. I mean,
and the average amongst all the high schools is like 32 or 33%.
That's correct. We've had very little dropout, and what we have seen is more high school completion and more college completion, community college completion, 2-year degrees, and that's really where the demand will be in the future economy. I think 71% of your jobs will require an associate's degree or a technical degree, not a 4-year degree. And you talk about capturing the imagination and the aspirations of a student. One example I give is a young man. One of the community colleges has 4 tracks. One of them is nursing, one of them is in engineering. Well, this young man wanted to be a roller coaster engineer. Now, you mentioned aspirations that sometimes may or may not be realistic. There are roller coaster engineers, but what he saw in that early college was an engineering program, and perhaps he could bring that dream to fruition. After he got in the program, he decided he wanted to switch to a nursing allied health program. But the key is that it caught his imagination, and what I have said is a traditional high school flashes a sign saying we will teach you biology and we will teach you geometry and science and history and English. This early college was flashing a sign that we can make you a roller coaster engineer. That's what he saw. He saw a practical application. They're going to teach you science, algebra, geometry, physics, the same thing. But it was that mindset that this is going to be a degree that will give me practical experience that I can really use in the real world. And that's why I think we have been so successful with first generation college. The Jobs Commission, which I chair, stands for Joining Our Businesses and Schools, and it's really taking that early college level to the next level. I know you're very interested in regional economies. Economies differ across the state, and so we've gone into the 7 economic development regions and we've said, what do you expect your economy to be in 10 to 15 years? What are the skills that are going to be needed? Can we get a business partner in one of these early colleges to help mentor students, to allow them to job shadow, to allow a teacher to do an externship in the business so they can take practical experience back into the classroom?
And then make the education relevant to what their future job opportunities may or may not be.
Exactly. There have been some studies that while our community college system is great, we do have some disconnect with these are the demands, and we're not meeting that demand with our educational system because the economy is changing so fast. I think North Carolina is leading in closing that gap, but we can do even better if we can get business involved more in these early colleges and in our educational system. My theory is that education really is market driven. Your educators may not think that, but we really react to the economy before us. When North Carolina was a manufacturing economy, business really didn't care so much about a dropout rate. They were looking for strength and dexterity on the manufacturing line. If 25% of the students were going on and getting a 4-year degree, that was wonderful. That was their management positions. If those in between that and the dropout rate were finding businesses of their own or doing service industry, that's fine. The dropout rate was not a concern. All of a sudden, the world changed. And when the world changed, business says, oh, we've got to have a better product. Well, I wish they'd have paid a little better attention perhaps earlier.
Yeah.
But now that that is the expectation of business, I think our educational leaders are stepping up to the plate, willing to do anything they can to see that those skill sets are there. But we need businesses' help. If that's going to be the driving force, then engage in education, become a partner in one of these early college programs or some of the technical programs that we're talking about.
So your message to our audience is literally say, if you want a higher quality, get involved.
Exactly.
And express your needs, express your interest to the area educators in your area, and then also be willing to be involved, being interviewed, provide tours, involve mentorship if possible, and get engaged. If you want better quality, you have to have input into that quality.
Exactly. Don't criticize, help solve the problem. And I think we've seen some successful models out there that we hope to replicate. We've got some exciting things that we're talking about. Again, the early college program has been well received, and this concept of joining businesses in schools has been well received by both educators. Educators, I think, welcome the assistance of business and industry. So we continue to move forward, and it's a challenging time not only in North Carolina but throughout our nation and throughout our world. We have to compete globally, and that's what we're determined to do in North Carolina.
Well, I think it's wonderful what you're doing. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And again, it has been a big concern of mine that, we have our popular television programs are so focused on American Idols and athletes, and kids don't really get a chance to see what the real job opportunities are. So some of the measures and activities that you're putting in place definitely can help bridge that gap.
That's right, and again, it has been well received because they do see that practical application, and they get more support. That these are smaller classes. The one key that we have found, these early colleges are generally located, at least for the last 2 or 3 years, on the community college campus, even though they're high school age students. We wondered how that would work because your average student at a community college is usually 26 to 28 years old. But we have actually seen a de facto mentoring as those older students see the younger students, and why are you here? How did you get here? Well, I'm in this early college program. Gee, I wish we had that. We had that when I was coming through, and it's a more mature setting, and all of a sudden the discipline problems go away and the academic performance goes up. So it really has been something that we're very proud of.
So this is fantastic. What you're telling me is partitioning kids off, the kids at their own age bracket,
right,
can be detrimental to their own development and maturity. If we start creating some cross-generational exposure points, we can be able to not only develop some leadership skills of some of their older students, but also get some kids to be mentees or proteges to some of the solid performers.
Exactly, and that was just an offshoot of this type of program, and we've been very, very pleased with that outcome. To give you one example, Wake Med Hospital took the lead on one of these early colleges, and the 9th and 10th graders come to the Wake Med campus, the hospital campus, for their classes. They have their certified teachers, but the doctors and nurses help to lecture and mentor and allow job shadowing in the hospital. Then the last 3 years are on the campus of Wake Tech. And the scope of the education covers, not everybody's going to be a doctor or nurse, but if they have an interest in allied health, physical therapy, radiologist, technician, other things like that, it again gets that interest, it gets that aspiration, and it gives that real world connection to a more mature population that helps those students along the way.